This movie looks awesome, gotta tell you. It's the first, I can't believe it's the first ever full feature biopic about Jesse Owens. And it's gonna come in theaters near you on February 19th. The movie's called Race. And one of the stars of it right here on The Rich Eisen Show, Jason Sudeikis. How you been, Jason?
Not bad. Yourself?
I am hanging in there. How'd you get hooked up with this movie? What interested you about it?
Well, I mean, their interest in me interested me about it. That was flat out. That's the way it works for me at this point in my life. No, they sent me a script, and I read it, and I thought the story was amazing. And so, I only knew the headlines about Jesse Owens winning a bunch of gold medals right there in front of Hitler's face and in the middle of Berlin in 1936. And then to read more and more about it, and then, the role that was offered to me was a cool part that reminded me of like Gene Hackman and Hoosiers.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this sounds cool. Then I met the director, and he was clever and concise in the way he was going to tell the story. And then I was like, well, who's playing Jesse Owens? And it's this young fella, Stefan James, someone that people haven't heard of yet. That I watched his audition, and he was fantastic. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. And then we filmed in Montreal mostly, and then took it over to Berlin and actually filmed in the stadium where the whole thing went down. And it was like the best field trip I've ever been on in my life. It was amazing.
I bet. Yeah, you play Larry Snyder, the Ohio State track coach, who at the time Jesse Owens just strolled right on in and like, okay, let's see what you got. And I love scenes like that in sports movies.
Yeah,
Jason,
it's great. And I mean, especially, I thought it was relevant, the story, before we even made it, based on, discrimination against homosexuals in the Russian Olympics. Little did I know that upon its release, how timely the conversations going on in the film and how much they would harmonize with the conversations going on these days. Yeah, it's and the fact that the way that Jesse went about handling his business, sort of turned off all the noise around him and did what was best for him and eventually what was best for the country. And I would even argue for mankind by just going over there and taking this big commercial that Hitler and Goebbels and the rest of the Nazi Party were trying to prompt on the world and just just deflated that bubble and that balloon in quite marvelous fashion.
Yeah, Jason Sudeikis joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So what was that like to be in Berlin in that stadium? Shooting this story.
It's goosebump inducing. We traded goose stepping for goosebumps as far as I'm concerned.
That's a good trade. That's a good trade, by the way, Jason.
Right? Yeah, always. Yeah. But we literally, I don't know if people know this, but after Jesse won his first gold medal, you're supposed to go up and meet the chancellor, the president, the Fuhrer, and Hitler left. He left the stadium, refused to shake his hand. Goebbels delivered the message that the Fuhrer had to leave because of traffic. That's the legitimate excuse. And when they filmed that scene, which I'm not in, but I knew of historically, and I know of now cinematically, we filmed that in the exact spot where that brush off occurred. And They took down Hitler's box. They circumcised it, if you will, from the stadium many years ago, and then we had to rebuild it in order for legitimacy because the stadium's still there and it's still active. There are football matches there and et cetera. And a bunch of tourists and locals were very concerned about why is that being built again? But yeah, when you're walking around there and there's in these modern days, people wearing, SS soldier uniforms, and then, in between, the camera setups, texting. It's a very odd reality to be in. But yeah, it was amazing. And then, we were there, and Jesse's daughters, he has 3 daughters, they're all still alive, and they came out to Berlin, and I was there with Olivia and my little boy, and we watched the soccer match there, and they honored Jesse and his daughters there, and they're 100% behind the story, which is not just about him being an icon, but about him being, the amazing man he was, and the missteps that he made as a man, both, in anger and arrogance, and also, stepping out on his lady, but it's the integrity that he sort of carried himself through all that adversity, both self-inflicted and societally, that that is really, I think, just very relevant for these times. He was quite the man, quite the American.
Isn't it amazing how life works sometimes? So your kids hanging out with Jesse Owens' kids.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
In Berlin.
Yeah.
That happened.
I know. No, it's a good point. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I got a photo on an iPhone to prove it. Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
That's official.
Just like Jesse drew it up on his iPhone.
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis joining me here. How'd you enjoy doing a drama for a change?
It was great. Again, this is the kind of movie that my dad and I used to go see, like Hoosiers or like The Untouchables. I mean, I felt like I got to step into a time machine and play a part that Kevin Costner or someone much more talented and more iconic than myself would have got to play. But it took 80 years for this story to be told. The only person that's made a movie about Jesse Owens at this level was Leni Riefenstahl, the German filmmaker that filmed the entire Olympics.
I'm sure she had a different take on it.
She did, and yet at the same time celebrated him as well, much to the chagrin of the Nazi Party.
Right.
But he was that miraculous. But yeah, it was a blast. It's no different for me on the inside. Like I'm just trying to, whether I'm attempting to kill my bosses or smuggle weed across the border, I'm trying to make it believable for me, and by proxy my
Right.
people in the scenes with me and therefore the camera. But yeah, it's fun. I got to wear cool hats and the most exciting part has been the dialogue, in promoting this movie and talking about this movie, and again in this time and place in history, it's fun to speak about these things, especially because I get to hype up this incredible man that a lot of people have lost track of through time, and the actor that gets to play him. I mean, it's an exciting thing for me to because from the Midwest, we're not big on standing on high at the mountaintop and yelling about ourselves and bragging about ourselves. So it's fun that I get to talk about Jesse and Stefan and Stephen Hopkins and the whole cast and crew. I'm Jesse's. I play Jesse's plus one at the 36 Olympics. So it's fun for me. I like being in the center of this stuff and trying to promote the positivity that I think this movie has going for it.
Jason Sudeikis joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. That's the second time you've mentioned Hoosiers. That's my number one sports movie.
It's great.
That's it. To me, you rip the knob off when you have that conversation. I mean, there's great ones, obviously. Remembering the Titans is excellent. There's,
Bull Durham.
Durham, sure.
Slapshot,
Brian's song, if you really want to go also old school too. But, I mean, Hoosiers, I find myself sometimes, Jason, just saying, moments from the movie, like measuring the rim to the floor
Absolutely.
and the baseline to the free throw line. It's just a different arena. I mean, there are ways that Hoosiers actually applies to everyday life.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes.
Owen Wilson and I talked about Hoosiers all the time when making a hall pass, and it was nice for him to tell me that him and Vince Vaughn were having the same conversations when they were making Wedding Crashers. So yeah, That movie metaphorically just spans across more than just what what Hickory did against those big city kids.
Yeah.
But I mean, this movie has that. And it's funny that you mentioned Brian's song because one of the movies that Stephen Hopkins, the director, and I talked about in regards to this film is the story between Larry and Jesse, which is just one of the small stories, and me playing Larry and Stefan playing Jesse is very much a Brian song. I mean, for me, it's like right out of 48 Hours, Brian's song, or Butch and Sundance. I mean, the things that these two guys went through with each other as a white coach and a black athlete, who they didn't let black players play football at Ohio State in 1936. Larry was ahead of his time in both his innovations as a coach, but also as as a white guy in America for letting black athletes actually play for him. But they really go through this journey together in that exact same kind of way, and the bond that is formed is really really proud of getting a chance to bring it to the to the spotlight these days.
Yeah, February 19th is when Race hits theaters and theaters near you. Were you as broken up about the end of the Chiefs season as Eric Stonestreet and your other big slick friends?
Yeah, probably not as much as those guys because those guys are diehard.
Yeah.
Him and Rob and Paul. I've always said when people ask me, "Do you love the Chiefs?" My response has always been, "Well, I love a lot of people that do." And it's not that I have any beef with it. It's just I have friends that live and die by it every Sunday, and me, I would be front on people to act like I was one of those people. But of course I was bummed, and I had to do, junkets over the weekend and had to, talk to some Denver reporters and them giving me jazz. I'm like, come on, take it outside, buddy.
That's
not right now.
Do you have a take on Super Bowl 50? What do you think?
Sure, I think they should play the game. I think they should go 4 quarters, and I think there should be commercials, the whole bit. I want a halftime show. I want them wearing uniforms.
That's quite a take. That's a hot take. We call that a hot take.
It's
in the
the
business.
hottest. Dry ice hot.
And we also did notice you wore Jordans to the Golden Globes.
Come on.
We saw you did that.
Why not? just in case. I thought LeBron might have been there because of his,
Trainwreck.
awesome performance in Trainwreck,
Sure.
and I was just ready to go 2-on-2, me and him against, whoever, Kevin Hart and Christian Bale. I don't know.
Why'd you choose the shortest guy that's out there? Kevin Hart.
Because he's an excellent ball player.
Okay.
He's got a lot of charisma, but he also has got a decent jump shot, and he's very very quick hands.
I like that. I like it. So, what did you think of LeBron's performance in Trainwreck?
I thought he was great.
He was great.
I knew he was great. I knew what he had in him because he spent a week with us.
That's right.
Going through the training camp that is SNL. So
Okay.
I got to do 2 sketches with him. I knew. I didn't surprise me at all.
Were you there when Peyton ever stopped by?
Oh yeah, Peyton, Tom Brady. They're both great. Tom Brady was my last show as a writer. The very next week, I was put into the cast.
Okay.
He did a great job for us in a sketch where we wrote behind the music about the Super Bowl Shuffle where he played Jim McMahon.
That's right.
But Peyton is about as funny
He is.
as any athlete I've ever met, and just a good guy. Eli too, man. Eli did a great job in a sketch that we wrote for him about him being on trial for going through his text messages, his booty text messages. So we didn't have. Athletes perform live every single week, or if not, 82 times a year, 162 times a year. Like these guys, live television is like la-di-da. Like there's nobody trying to stop them from making jokes. Like they don't have defense on SNL. So
nobody's hitting them either.
Yeah, right, exactly.
The Peyton Manning, the United.
Lauren will take you out if you screw up a joke.
The fake Peyton Manning United Way commercial.
Oh, so good.
It was an instant classic.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, I'm looking forward to race, Jason. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, thanks for having me. I thanks for squeezing me in. I know this is last second, but it means a lot. No, this is the base that we want people to go see this movie.
Good.
People that love sports. So it's important story at this time.
Excellent.
And I appreciate taking the time.
Of course, come on in the studio next time, and if you're free, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, or you come to my studio.
Where's that, Jason?
I don't have one. You got me. You got me.
See, I shouldn't ask that follow-up question.
No, you should just let me go.
Yeah,
I will, man. Have fun.
Oh yeah, bud. Yeah, just I'll be there. You tell me when. I'm in.
Yes, and that's what we do in the improv world. Yes, and just yes.
Jason, thanks again.
All right, now.
Take care, man.
Bye.
There you go. That's Jason Sudeikis. A race, February 19th.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.